Where should I invest in property? I get asked on a weekly basis. Now I'm in a high street, the typical high street in the UK that's changing. The whole property market is changing all the time. And so you need to decide what is it you're buying, where should you buy it, and keep it real ahead of the game. And in this video, I'm going to give you some things to think about, 3 top tips, so you can make the right decision on where you should start your next property investment. So my name's Heaney. I'm a developer and investor for the past 12 years, and over that time I've seen property market change really noticeably, especially high streets like this one. Now, I don't know if you can look around, but right now a lot of these are turning into charity shops, second-hand shops, and the big players are now moving out, gone bankrupt. Think about the big players that are going bankrupt in the news all the time right now. It's because our lifestyles are changing. So tip number 1, if you're thinking about investing in an area, whether it's commercial or residential, is just what is the market doing in that area. So if you don't need to come visit to start with, there's so much data online. Go on Rightmove, go on Zoopla, and look at actually sold comparables, and look at the demographics of the area. You know, what kind of shops are in here? So think about the high street right now where you are. Think of the big players that are in the news that are going bankrupt, that are shutting down. These shops around here, some of these are actually now going down and they're turning into charity shops or second-hand shops because the bigger, higher turnover shops can't afford it anymore, and so they're shutting down. So you've got to look at what is happening in the area, what's the market doing, and there's loads of data. So before you even visit in the area, you could do all this online to get some ideas. So that's tip number 1, is look before you decide where to buy, think of what's the area doing demographically in terms of economic activity and who would want to live there or who would want to do business there. When you're looking at your area, what kind of tenants want to live there? Is it people who are working? Maybe they get benefits. Maybe you're trying to go for high-income earners. Maybe you're looking for really an area where you're hoping the value of the property is going to go up in value, so asset appreciation. Maybe you're looking actually more for what the yield is, what the return on your investment is. Now, you're not necessarily always going to get both in the same location. That's where the education comes in. You maybe want an HMO like the building I'm standing right next to here, house of multiple occupancy. Or maybe you want to do a buy-to-let, like this street here. But ultimately, a buy-to-let is you buy it and you rent it out to a single family. Or you do a house of multiple occupancy where you build like this and you rent it individual rooms. Or you buy a house and you run it as service accommodation. Or you buy a commercial building and then you rent it out to a commercial agent. Or you actually then have multiple units. So you have a commercial at the bottom with residential above, or an HMO above. So there's so much choice. So the tip, number 2, is just decide what is it you're going to focus on to start with until you've got experience. So now that I've been in property 12 years, I can look at multiple options. I go, actually, with that, I'm going to look at commercial. With that, I'm going to do an HMO. With that, I'm going to do a single buy-let. I'm going to flip that house. I'm going to buy it and sell it on. So because that comes with experience. But when you're starting out, just decide, I want to have buy-to-lets, or I want to create an HMO. And then you focus on it and you look at that area and decide, will the demand meet the need that I want? So that's tip number 2. Just decide on one thing and focus on that until you get some experience in it before you then do something else. Otherwise, you're doing shiny penny syndrome. You're chasing a shiny penny. 1 minute you want to do an HMO, next minute you want to do a buy-to-let, and then you get confused, you get overwhelmed, and when overwhelm kicks in, you do not take action. Tip number 3. How much money is going into your deal and how much money are you getting back out? Because we ultimately want cash flow with ideally some asset appreciation over time. Now, for me, asset appreciation is you're speculating. It's not guaranteed. You haven't got a crystal ball. You can hope. You can use some data to estimate, but you can't control how much money might be made as properties go up. So cash flow for me is king. So when you're looking at to invest in property, so your tip number 1 was look at the area, look at the data, what's going on in terms of the demographics. Tip number 2 was think about, do you want to focus on buy-to-lets, HMOs, are you thinking about commercial? And just get good at one thing to start with until you get the confidence to then do more higher level stuff. And tip number 3 is you need to know the numbers in terms of once you're looking at a particular property, how much is going to go into that deal. So that house behind us is getting a renovation, it's got scaffolding up, so there's cost factors there. So once you've laid the cost of refurb, your cost of purchase, all the legal fees, plus your deposit and stamp duty, how much money is going in? Can you actually refinance it after you've done the work? So what's left in that deal? And are you happy with the profit, the net profit after all costs, when that money's in and you've got rent roll coming in? Are you happy with that rent versus how much money's in that deal? Now you might go, Tom, I'm not going to hold it, I'm going to sell it on, but you know your strategy, so that's good, high five, you've done tip number 2. You know what you're doing, you know your strategy, and you're focused on it. So if you're going to focus on flipping, here's tip number 4, special extra bonus. If you're going to flip it, how much profit do you want to make? My rule of thumb is 20%. So if you don't make 20% out of the deal, I ain't doing it, because there's risk. So because if you've got 20% margin, it means that if that's your margin and there's an overrun, there's a bit of cost that you didn't expect, you've still got a chunk of cash still to pull it out. And if your margin's tighter, you might walk away with no money, or even worse, you actually work out in a negative loss. So there we go. There's 4 tips, even though I said 3. Hope this has been of use, hope it's some insight. This is just high level stuff. And if you want more of this stuff, if you really want the depth, come and join me or engage with me or watch more of the videos, and your knowledge is going to go like this. And the more you learn, the more you earn. See you soon. There you go, thanks for watching. If you like this stuff and you want to see more, there's more videos just right there. And every single week I post brand new content for you about how to become a property investor or developer. All I ask is subscribe so you can see this every week, and like and comment. But if you also want to see me on other channels, Instagram, Facebook and LinkedIn are right below, so click on there too. Look forward to seeing you real soon face to face. Take care.